Hi guys, and welcome back to The Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron, and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the game review to Everton's 1-0 defeat to Sheffield United last night at Goodison Park. Another home game sees another home defeat, making it 9 of the season, I believe, which I think is joint with our worst record ever. Shocking again. Absolutely shocking, and pretty much just summarises the entire season, doesn't it, really, for Everton? Certainly the entire season when we've played at Goodison Park. It was absolutely awful. Once again, absolutely dreadful. No passion, no energy, no fight, no grit, no determination, spineless, gutless, weak, and just the defeatist mentality that we've seen at the football club for quite a long time, really. And we all sort of thought this mentality had left when we beat Liverpool at Anfield, and when we beat Arsenal away, and when we beat Tottenham away. But the reality of the situation is it hasn't really left. It's just switched from not being able to beat those big six or top six or super six, whatever you want to call them, sides away from home, to just now not being able to beat anybody at Goodison Park. It's gone from losing, maybe 6 games a season to those teams that, you really want to beat, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, to losing games at home to teams that we really should be beating, your Sheffield United, your Aston Villas, your Burnleys, your Fulhams, your Newcastles, etc, etc. It's just absolutely dreadful, and again yesterday just epitomised that, just in one performance. If you could epitomise what Everton Football Club is at the moment in one performance, it was last night. Not players that just simply aren't good enough, players that just simply don't care, and players that for some reason have got this mentality instilled in them that it's okay to not turn up and perform. It's okay to turn up and not really fancy it. It's okay to turn up and not really give it 110% for the shirt, because it'll be fine, because in another 2 or 3 days it'll all be forgotten about and we'll have moved on to something else. It's not. It's absolutely not. I tweeted out a picture last night. There's a sign at Finch Farm in the gym, which is a room that, pretty much every player, I assume every player will be in today, either walking through or training in or whatever. And there's a sign underneath the clock at the gym which says nothing but the best. And then there's a big, massive wall with a printed picture of Evertonians celebrating. And I said yesterday on Twitter, I hope every single one of those players stands in that gym at any one time today and stares at that picture and stares at that sign for at least a couple of minutes and actually understands and digests what it means to be an Everton player, what it means to put that shirt on and go out at Goodison Park and perform. Because they've got away with a lot this season. They've got away with absolute murder, because this wouldn't have been accepted with fans at the stadium. That performance wouldn't have been accepted last night. It wouldn't have been whatsoever, and the players would have known that. They'd have absolutely shit themselves if there was fans in that stadium yesterday. But they've got away with it because there's been no fans, because there's more often than not been no repercussions. More often than not, they've put in a bad performance. We've all had a little bit of a moan about it afterwards, and then a couple of days later, again, everything passes by and everything's alright and it's forgotten about. Well, no, that's a performance that we've seen on a number of occasions this season, and we've known for the entire season that it's not good enough. Last night epitomised that. Losing to a team in Sheffield United who have been relegated and have been relegated for the last 5 weeks. 5 weeks. Full respect to Sheffield United. They turned up, they performed, they battled, they wanted it. Sheffield United had nothing to play for yesterday. Absolutely nothing to play for. They've gone down. They can't stay up. The only thing they had to play for yesterday was their professional pride. That was the only thing those Sheffield United players were, that was their only aim yesterday, was to make themselves proud and to make their fans proud and to go down at least fighting. Now, I've said this numerous times before, and I'll say it again. If you turn up against Everton at Goodison Park, or even away from home in most seasons, yes, this season we've been exceptional away from home, but if you turn up, especially at the moment, against Everton at Goodison Park, and you've got pride, and you've got fight, and you've got passion, it doesn't matter how good you are. You can be absolutely dreadful. You can be Sunday League level. In fact, you can be Sunday League level, where all 11 players have been out on the piss the night before and have turned up still drunk. As long as you've got that bit of pride, as long as you've got that bit of passion, as long as you've got that bit of grit, you'll beat Everton, because you'll beat us on work rate, you'll beat us on work ethic, you'll beat us on fight. And it doesn't matter how much quality we have. If our players can't be arsed turning up and battling, We will lose every single game against those sides that do turn up and battle, even if it is teams like Sheffield United, who have shown on time and time again this season they haven't got the quality to play in the Premier League. One away win before last night, one away draw before last night, 15 losses. Aaron Ramsdale, I don't think, has kept a clean sheet away from home all season. Turns up at Goodison Park and he was barely tested. You know, okay, we had a couple of chances. Alan had one, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison had a couple, but other than that, he was barely tested. Jordan Pickford come out and said it right. Jordan Pickford come out and yesterday and said we were beaten on work ethic and we were beaten on spirit by a team that's already been relegated. And Jordan Pickford was put in front of them cameras for a reason as well, by the way, because I went on to the BT Sport YouTube channel, which is obviously where the game was broadcasted yesterday, and I expected to see Dominic Calvert-Lewin come out with the usual, it wasn't good enough, we know we need to be better. I expected Seamus Coleman to come out with his trademark, we need a look in the mirror, that's not good enough. I expected, I don't know, Michael Keane to come out, but it wasn't. Everton had chosen Jordan Pickford, and the reason they'd chosen Jordan Pickford is because they'd known that he was the only Everton player last night that none of us could have really had an issue with. Not only because he didn't put a foot wrong on the pitch, but he also seemed like the only Everton player who was fighting, who was screaming. There was one point where he was at the halfway line, the ball got played back by Seamus Coleman, and he absolutely belted it to the halfway line as if to say, this is a nonsense, I'll take control here. He was the only Everton player yesterday that you looked at and thought, you know what, he wants that, he wants this, he wants to win, he wants to get, he wants to get the 3 points, he wants to battle for Europe, and that's why he was put in front of the cameras at the end, because the club have known that if it was anybody else, then anything they come out with would have been void, because they had the chance to do the talking on the pitch and they failed to do it. Once again, they failed to do it. And this is the issue with Everton. It really, really is the issue with Everton. There used to be a sign next to that Nothing But The Best sign, or in and around that same area at Finch Farm, which said, and I don't know if it's still there, I was dying to find the picture of it yesterday. If anybody's got the picture, please send it to us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT, because I looked everywhere for it and I couldn't find it. And look, Finch Farm's been done up, a number of times over the last year, so I don't know if it's still there, but it's a massive sign that says, what does it say? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that, to be honest with you, that saying, that quote epitomises Everton Football Club. We've got talent, we've got players with quality, but we haven't got hard work, we haven't got work rate. And that quote is exactly what other teams do to Everton. They turn up and they go, well, do you know what? If we work hard and these don't, we'll win, no matter how much talent they've got. And that's exactly what 99% of sides have done this season at Goodison Park, and it's not good enough. It's absolutely not good enough. It's abysmal. This club has got a weak defeatist mentality. And we can talk about Carlo Ancelotti coming in and trying to eradicate that, but what happens if Carlo Ancelotti ends up being sort of overwhelmed by that weak defeatist mentality? What happens if it ends up being instilled in him? I'm not saying it will, but what happens if it does? What happens if this mentality is coming from the people at the top of the club and it's being festered down, not just from board members and managers, but what happens if it's infested into canteen workers and kit men and training ground admin staff, whatever? It's very, very, very clear that this club has still got a mentality that it doesn't really matter if you win or not, as long as you turn up and do your job. And if that isn't the mentality of the football club, and there's someone sitting in at the club saying, no, it's not, that's not what we don't accept that, well, I want to see every single one of those players absolutely screamed at today and last night. Screamed at. I don't want to see social media posts over the next 2 days. Who do you want to see in training, Blues? None of that crap. I'm not interested in it. I don't care. Season's done. Season's over. So Wolves is going to be a great night for the fans back at Goodison Park. And if you go and said it yesterday, don't worry about the players on the pitch. Don't worry about the performance. They don't care. So you shouldn't care. Just go and just enjoy being back at Goodison Park. Enjoy being able to take in being back home. Don't worry about the performance on the pitch, because it'll be nonsense like it has for the rest of the season. And City is a write-off. We can talk about City playing their 4th team, 5th team. It doesn't matter. City will bounce us whatever team they play. So if this mentality, if the club want to come out and deny this and say, no, we haven't got a weak defeatist mentality, then come out and do something about it. Do something about it. Don't forget about this result in 2 days and go, oh, well, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. That isn't good enough. And that has been the performance and the result for the majority of this season at home. We've lost 9 league games at Goodison Park, and every single one of them have been against teams that you would say on paper before the game, Everton have got more quality than. But we don't work hard. There has not been one game at Goodison that we've lost this season that you could say, do you know what, we were unlucky there, we worked hard, except maybe, ironically, the games against Man City, which we performed relatively okay in, and maybe Man United. Every other game we've lost at Goodison, that leaves 7 defeats at Goodison Park. There's not one of them you could say we worked hard in. There's not one of them you could say we deserved anything out of, because we haven't. 7 minutes in, we conceded that goal yesterday. 7 minutes in, it was a stupid, sloppy defensive goal. For the first 6.5 minutes, Everton looked okay. We looked reasonably in control. We weren't great. We weren't creating an awful lot of chances. Of course we weren't. But we were passing the ball around. We looked confident. We looked comfortable. We looked patient. And this is what I'm talking about by weak defeatist mentality. 7 minutes in, we concede the goal through shocking defending by Alan. To be complete. Alan's a brilliant player. I love Alan. I think he's world class, but sometimes he just baffles me. Absolutely baffles me, because that is schoolboy. He just gets turned comfortably by a player who, you know, again, is, let's be perfectly honest, is a championship level player, and he gets turned like that. Ball comes into the box. Ben Godfrey completely leaves his man. Don't know what they're trying to do. Don't know whether they're trying to play the offside trap. Don't know whether they're trying to be clever, but he completely leaves his man. And look, I love Ben Godfrey, and I think he's had an exceptional season, but unfortunately, that's something that he hasn't quite mastered yet. He's done it a couple of times. I think he's done it against Josh Madger in the game against Fulham as well, just completely leaving his man behind him. And we go 1-0 down, and this is how horrible it is. This is how horrible it was yesterday, and how horrible it is at the moment to be an Evertonian. As Everton went 1-0 down to relegated Sheffield United at home, who haven't won a game away from home since they beat Manchester United. Won 1 all season, haven't kept a clean sheet away from home, I don't think all season. And we go 1-0 down 7 minutes in. And I don't know, obviously I can't speak for everybody, but if I speak for myself here, I sat down on that couch next to my dad and said, we don't get back into this game, we've lost, this game is lost. And you might say, Cam, you talk about defeatist mentality, but you've got it yourself, you're admitting it there. But the reason I thought like that, the reason I think like that, is because I know these players haven't got the mentality to pick themselves back up and get back into a game. I know these players haven't got the bottle, haven't got the grit, haven't got the determination to go, do you know what? Yeah, we've conceded a stupid goal there, but we've got much more quality than these. We can get out and we can hit them and we can get back into this game. If we'd have gone 1-0 down last night, 7 minutes in through that goal, which was, again, good movement by the young lad, Jebison, 17-year-old, making his Premier League debut, good movement, gets to the back post and scores. If he'd have scored that goal, and then 5 minutes later we'd have got the equaliser, and then 20 minutes later we'd have scored the second, and then we'd have gone on and win 3-4-5-1, we'd all be sitting here saying, yeah, their goal is silly defending, but at least we had that grit, at least we had that, winning mentality to pick ourselves up and go again. To go, no, do you know what? We shouldn't be 1-0 down here. We should be winning this game, so we're going to pick ourselves back up and we're going to go. But we haven't got that. And that's what I'm saying. We all knew last night when it went to 1-0, that's it. Because you didn't see any players screaming at each other. You didn't see any players getting up and getting involved and getting in each other's face going, what's that? Why are you defending like that? Pick yourselves back up. Come on, we're better than this. Get involved. Let's start playing, let's start passing the ball around. Let's be a bit faster. You just seen everybody go, oh, that's it then. We've conceded another what? Probably not good. Yeah, that's it. Heads down. As if it's acceptable. As if it's expected to go 1-0 down at home against the team that have already been relegated, as if it's expected to not put in 110%. What is going on at this football club? Why is that acceptable? Why couldn't we get back into a game with 83 minutes left? In fact, at the time, 85 minutes left to get back into a game at home against the side that's got nothing to play for other than professional pride, when we're meant to believe this Everton team has got Europe to play for. By the way, Europe's done. Forget about it. Europe is absolutely done. I'm not even entertaining the conversation. Beat Wolves, beat the City, boss, great, yeah. Europe's done. We're not getting in Europe now. We mathematically can't catch Liverpool, who will take 5th place probably, or 4th, and West Ham will take the other one, and we ain't catching Tottenham. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal overtook us at this point as well. Or Leeds or somebody like that. We ain't getting Europe. End of story. I think the lowest place we can finish is 10th, and I really wouldn't be surprised if we finished 10th this season. I really, really wouldn't be surprised, because I don't see us picking up another point. Because I don't think the players care. I don't think they want to pick up another point, and if I'm being perfectly honest with you, I think they're all probably thinking, oh, what's my first meal going to have when I go to the Bahamas in the summer, or oh, I can't wait to wear them new flip-flops I've just bought, or oh, that pool looks good, doesn't it, in this hotel complex I've booked. Honestly, they're not focused. They're absolutely, and I don't want to hear Carlo come out last night and said we're embarrassed, it's embarrassing, it's disgraceful, it's not good enough, serious work needs to be done. And he's right with everything he said. And I feel slightly for Carlo, to be honest, I do, because, you know, we can talk about Carlo's team selection, we can talk about Carlo's substitutions, we can talk about, you know, some decisions Carlo Ancelotti has made, but the reality of the situation is Carlo Ancelotti's inherited the worst squad in his managerial career, and he still managed to get this team battling for European football. If it wasn't for Carlo Ancelotti, we wouldn't have as good of a away record as we've got this season. And it really, really worries me that if it wasn't for Carlo Ancelotti, this Everton team would be seriously, you know, we'd be fighting in and around the bottom end of the league. I'm not saying we'd have been relegated, but we'd have been fighting towards the bottom end of the league. The fact that we're even in, or we were even in, a fight for Europe and a battle for Europe is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, because this squad of players is one or two things. I said it yesterday: they either don't care, or they're not good enough, or it's a mix of both. They're certainly not good enough to play in a European competition next season. Certainly not good enough for that. So, again, like I said, it's season's done with now. There's a slight feeling of a weight lifted off my shoulder, to be honest with you, because, you know, again, I've got no interest. I'll do the review and the preview and the instant match reaction to the Wolves game and the City game, but I can't lie to anybody. I've got, in terms of the league and the position in which we finish in, I've got no interest now, because I know we're not finishing in Europe. So finish 10th, whatever, finish 8th, whatever. We're not finishing in any of the top 7 places, so it doesn't really matter where else we finish, does it? Shocking again, absolutely dreadful from pretty much the 7th minute to like I said, to the 95th minute, and that's the most worrying thing. The most worrying thing about last night, you know, we can talk about individual performances, we can talk about passion, we can talk about energy, we can talk about fight, we can talk about grit, but the most worrying thing about last night was we had 85 minutes to get back into a game at home against a relegated side who have nothing to play for when we've got Europe to play for, and we didn't look like getting back into it once. I said it on Thursday. We could still be playing today and we wouldn't have scored against Villa. We could still be playing now and we wouldn't have scored against Sheffield United. We had chances, 3 golden chances. Alan has one which, you know, forces Ramsdale into a good save. James has one which we'll talk about in a bit, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison have you know, one each straight after each other, which is disgraceful for me. Absolute disgraceful that neither of them managed to put it in the back of the net. But again, like I said, we'll talk about those shortly. But yeah, no grit, no fight, no passion, no determination, just a weak defeatist mentality that ultimately has beaten us again, and has beaten us on a number of occasions this season. I expect a much better performance on Wednesday, to be honest, because I don't think these players have got the bollocks to turn up at Goodison in front of fans and put that type of performance in. I don't think they've got the bollocks to turn up and not give it 110%. And I expect us to all be sitting here. Well, big thanks to everybody in the live comments, by the way. Really do appreciate it. If you're enjoying, please do hit that like button. We will get into the comments shortly. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Really do appreciate all of the support. If you could share the stream, that would mean a great deal to me. But I expect us to all be sitting here on Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning, whenever it'll be, saying, why couldn't we have put that type of performance in all season about the Wolves game? Because I expect us to turn up and beat Wolves. I expect us to turn up and put a decent performance in. I expect us to turn up and fight, battle, and win the game. Because there's fans in the stadium, and these players wouldn't dare do anything other than that. And I expect us all to be sitting in on Thursday saying, why couldn't we have done that all season? Where's this Everton been all season? Where has it been? It's dreadful. It's absolutely dreadful. And again, yesterday just epitomised. Yesterday was a big opportunity for these players. it was going to go one or two ways. We were going to turn up, we were going to perform, we were going to battle, we were going to fight, we were going to win, and we were going to all be sitting here today saying, right, okay, we've won that game, we're an extra 3 points, we're within 3 points of, I think we'd be level on points with West Ham at that point, we're within 3 points of Liverpool, you know, I think we're level on with Tottenham as well. This is a big chance to go out, beat Wolves, and we could be, you know, solidifying our position in Europe, and then the City game, we'll see what happens in that game. It was either going to go that way, or it was going to go the way it did, which is Everton turn up and put in a usual textbook home performance, and get completely out-fought, completely out-battled, completely out, you know, anything, passion, energy, grit, and just fold over and lose. And that's exactly what happened. And I've said to myself on a number of occasions over the last couple of years, I won't get frustrated, I won't get angry with Everton anymore. But yesterday is arguably the most angry I've been as an Evertonian. Certainly the most angry I've been as an Evertonian this year. And that's the honest truth. The honest truth. We've lost some games. We've been beaten in some games. We've been, you know, embarrassed in some games. But that yesterday that takes the cake. That it absolutely takes the cake. We were disgusting. We were absolutely disgraceful. And no disrespect to Sheffield United. Look, Sheffield United turned up, and fair play to their players. They had absolutely nothing to play for other than their professional pride and wanting to be relegated. At least, you know, being able to say we battled at the end of the season. And if I was a Sheffield United fan, I'd probably be a little bit upset with that Sheffield United team, because I think if they played like that and battled like that for the majority of the season, I don't think they'd be in a relegation battle, to be honest with you. But fair play to them. They turned up, and it's easy. It's so easy to beat Everton. I've alluded to this before, and I honestly believe it. There's probably 11 different people currently in the live comments at the moment. I reckon we could get 11 of us together, turn up at Goodison Park, and we'd beat Everton, because we'd battle, we'd fight. And it doesn't matter if you're technically a great footballer. It doesn't matter if you're as good as Hammers technically, or you can finish like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or you're as good of a left back as Luka Dean, or you're as solid as a centre half as Ben Godfrey. Doesn't matter. If you battle, if you work hard, it's not even battle more than Everton, because Everton don't battle. It's not even work harder than Everton, because Everton don't work hard. It's not like we're sitting here saying, oh, these teams, the team wanted it more than we did, they fought more than we did. We didn't fight. They turned up and they fought. They showed a little bit of something. They had a little bit of, you know, something that you respect and you sort of admire. We don't have any of that. We had nothing. And we've had nothing all season, certainly at home. In these types of games, we've had no passion, no fight, no grit. We've had nothing with a team that looks so unorganised. The players don't look like they understand what they're doing, where they're supposed to be, how to play football. This is another thing. I've never ever seen a Premier League team, and I honestly, I'm being serious here, by the way. I'm not being hyper dramatic. I'm being deadly serious. Even teams that have come to Goodison that have been relegated, like yesterday for an example, I've never seen a professional footballing team who struggles to play football as much as Everton do. We can't pass a ball 5 yards. We can't cross a ball. We don't get into the right areas. There's no pace. There's no energy. Our forwards aren't finishing the dinner at the moment. How can we be so bad at just playing football? How can we be so bad at doing the basics? It makes no sense whatsoever. Absolutely no sense whatsoever. These players, as soon as we went 1-0 down, it's not like they just lost their ability to fight or they didn't want it. They lost their ability to play football. It's like, it is literally like, you've got a team there who have got all this quality and all of this energy and all of this, well, I wouldn't say they've got all this energy, but I've got all this quality and all of these players that can change games, and then you go 1-0 down and you just rip all of that out of the players, and they just turn into, you know, 11 men who haven't never kicked a ball in their life and don't understand how to kick a ball. It's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing, it's dreadful, it's frustrating, and it epitomises this season. It absolutely epitomises this season. And look, yeah, I really don't know where to go from here, to be honest with you. We'll get through the Wolves game. Like I said, I am excited for the Wolves game, to be honest. I'm not going myself, but I'm excited for those Evertonians that are going. Like I said before, don't worry about the performance on the pitch. In fact, don't even care about it. Take an iPad or something, take your phone and set up a little film. Just appreciate being around. I'd probably suggest taking your laptop or your iPad and watch Howard's Way. Go and watch a team that battled, that fought, that had quality, but that had that fight, that had that grit, that had that determination. We speak about the David Moyes teams of the early 2000s, they didn't really have an awful lot of quality. They weren't blessed with players with the technical ability of James Rodriguez. They weren't particularly blessed with players with the finishing ability or the physicality and strength of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But they all fought, they all battled, they all dug deep, they all worked hard, and that meant that pretty much every game against every side that were in and around us or were lower than us in the league that we'd come up against would win. We wouldn't beat Liverpool, we wouldn't beat Man United, we wouldn't beat Chelsea, but most teams we'd beat in the Premier League because we had that grit, that determination, that underdog mentality. The teams in the 80s, we had that mentality, that grit, that determination, but we also had the quality, which is why we won a European Cup Winners' Cup, which is why we won leagues, which is why we won FA Cups. This team has got a question whether it's got any real quality other than a couple of individuals. In fact, it hasn't got any real quality other than a couple of individuals, and it's got no battle, no fight. So if you're going to Goodison Park, take your laptop and put Howard's Way on, and just appreciate being back at Goodison and watch a proper footballing team with quality and with passion and with energy and who care to play for the football club and who want to play for that shirt and who want to represent us as fans. Because those players on the pitch will probably put in another dreadful performance and probably get bounced off the park by a Wolves team who've been dreadful all season as well. So look, there you go. We will get into the game in a bit more detail shortly. I want to talk about their goal again. I want to talk about the fact that we just felt a bit. Everton had chances to get back into the game. We didn't take any of them. But I want to get into the live comments before we do that. Loads of people involved in the live comments so far. Really, really do appreciate that. Honestly, it means a massive amount to me. If you're enjoying, please do hit the like button. It only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you could share the stream as well, that would mean a massive, massive deal to me. You God says we are a joke always. Just let teams play. The only time we look okay is when we're not playing. That's how bad we are. Well, yeah, again, that's it. That is it. That's spot on, mate. You've absolutely hit the nail on the head there. Everton have been amazing away from home this season, and we've looked very, very, very good away from home. But when we've been away from home, we've adopted this tactic and this style of that we don't have the ball. Opposition teams have the ball and we just defend and we hit them on the counter-attack. It says something when the only real time Everton have looked any good in the last 6 months is when we haven't had the ball. And when, when opposition teams have come at us and we've only had to defend. Every time we get given the ball and the onus is on us, we just completely lose the ability to play footy. C-Play says, I'm still really annoyed at this result. Yeah, me too, to be honest with you, mate. James says, a heavy night for the Blues. Yeah, it was dreadful, mate, but it's not surprising, and that's the worst thing about it. To be honest with you, that's the worst thing about this, is that it's not surprising. We've put in performance after performance after performance like this all season. So the fact that we turned up again at Goodison and we were outplayed by a team that have already been relegated isn't surprising. To be honest, it really, really isn't, and that's the worst feeling of them all. You can talk about disappointment and gutless and spineless and all of that, but when you watch a performance like that last night and you sit back and you say, yeah, that's Everton for you. That's that defeatist mentality that needs getting rid of at this football club. And we can talk about us fans getting rid of the defeatist mentality, and you can talk about, oh yeah, well, fans are as much to blame because you're sitting there, Cam, and you're saying, oh, you knew we were going to lose and this, that and the other. But the reason I've got that mentality is because these players have constantly let us down year in, year out, in, time out. In this season, home game after home game after home game, they've done this. So if you want to get rid of this weak defeatist mentality, get rid of everybody at the club that epitomises it, including players. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin's got a mentality, and I don't think he has, by the way, I'm just using him as an example, but if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's got a mentality that's, oh, it doesn't really matter if we win or lose, it doesn't matter, get rid of him. If Richarlison's got that mentality, get rid of him. If James has got that mentality, get rid of him. If Ben Godfrey's got that mentality, get rid of him. If Carlo's got that mentality, get rid of him. I don't think that all of those people have, but there's certainly people at this football club that have got that mentality that it doesn't really matter if you don't win, and those people need to leave. No matter who they are, no matter how good they are on the football pitch, no matter their status, they need to leave because that's not acceptable. Adam says, Cam lad, I'm sick. Me too, mate. Mackie says, effing disgusting result, they should be ashamed. I am. Yeah, it's mad, innit, that we as fans are those that are embarrassed. We as fans are those that are ashamed. And Carlo come out yesterday and can say, oh yeah, the players are ashamed, the players are embarrassed, this, that and the other. But are they really? Are they embarrassed? Are those players sitting on that coach on the way back to Finch Farm or the way home, and are they all sort of sitting there not talking to each other? Are they all sitting there in a bad mood? Are they all sitting there frustrated, annoyed, embarrassed? Or do they get in the dressing room at the end of it and forget what's just happened and have a laugh and have a joke and start talking? And I'm not particularly one for saying that players can't have a life and players can't, disconnect themselves from football, but I fully expect as an Evertonian and what I witnessed, because I didn't some Evertonians can do this, and this is fair enough, by the way. I'm completely jealous of you if you can do this. Some Evertonians can go from watching Everton, turn the game off and go, no matter if we win 5-0, if we lose 5-0, if we lose like we did last night, some Blues can turn the game off and go, yeah, that's it, whatever, with Everton, we'll always be Everton. I'm going to put a film on, I'm going to have a laugh, and I'm jealous of that. I'm absolutely jealous of that, and we as fans should be able to do that, because we can't control the outcomes of games, we can't control the way players perform, we can't control the way what Everton turn up and do and don't do. But I seriously hope these players don't have that mentality. I hope these players don't do that. I hope they don't walk off that pitch and then go, right, okay, can't wait to get home and play COD, or can't wait to get home and play Fortnite, or can't wait to get home and watch the next episode of this series, that series. I seriously hope they were all sitting there last night for a good half an hour, 40 minutes, just looking at themselves thinking, we've thrown a massive chance to play in a European competition. And I'm not interested in hearing any of them come out and say, that's what we want to do, we want to play in Europe, this is the aspiration of the club, this is the aspiration of the team. It's not. If that was the aspiration of the club, you'd have showed it yesterday. You'd have turned up, you'd have done the talking with your feet. And it's either that or these players bottling under pressure, and you can't have that either. So it's either you didn't want to play in Europe and you don't care, or you simply bottled it when a bit of pressure come on you. And if you're bottling it against a team that have been relegated for 5 weeks and for most of the season haven't been able to show any real quality, then there's nothing in for you. Stephen says, and that's the good point. Adam, she says, bunch of cats walking around the pitch collecting a paycheck. Eugene says, I think Everton needs something cleared out. Yeah, we do, but it's not happening. It won't happen. I know we're all sitting here and we all want 8 names, 9 names, 10 names to leave, and we all want 14 new signings in. It's not happening. Everton won't be Everton might finish in Europe next season, but if we do, it'll be because the teams around us are dropping points and the teams around us haven't improved, and we've slightly improved. Everton won't be a consistent challenger for Europe next season. We won't be a consistent challenger for Europe for about 2 or 3 seasons, because that's how long it's going to take for Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands to get rid of the deadwood in this squad and to bring in the sufficient amount of players that are going to be able to do that. It's not happening in one summer. Whether we like it or not, it's not happening in one summer. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. If you could share the stream, it would mean a great deal to me. Justin says, definitely need players with pace this summer and get rid of the deadwood. Yeah, we do. Adam, she says, why are we so slow on the ball? We can't break teams down. We lose at home because teams set up to defend. Seems like we've been found out. We've been found out all season, mate. Absolutely all season. But it's not necessarily the fact that we can't break teams down and that team set up to defend. We don't look like we want to break teams down. We don't look like we've got that bit of grit, that something about us, that bit of fight, that bit of passion to break teams down. We just look like we huff and puff for 15 minutes and then we go, right, we've lost this game, so we don't need to work hard now. And that's the worst feeling in the world as a fan. Richard said, now that European football is gone, we need to look at some of the younger hopefuls in the remaining 2 games. Yeah, we won't. We won't, but we should do, but we won't. I can see the stream lagging a little bit, by the way, so I apologise for that. Bear with us. Hopefully it kicks itself back into gear. But it's just my computer just having a little bit of a nightmare. Big Nos says, passionless and gutless, 5 managers and 500 million later. Yes. Stephen says, these players won't there will be 1 or 2 of them that couldn't sleep last night. The rest wouldn't give 2 shits. And that's it, mate, and that epitomises it, doesn't it? Joe said, good to see you calm down now, bro. Pickford's man of the match for me, lad. He was the only one who was asked. Pickford, absolutely man of the match. Head and shoulders above anybody, and that's why he was put in front of the cameras at the end of the game, by the way. Make no mistake, Everton have gone out. I don't know who consoles the media side of things, but whoever it is has dragged Jordan Pickford aside and gone, look, we need an interview from a player, and you're the only one really there that looked like he was remotely asked, and you're the only player that fans aren't going to completely jump on if they go in front of the camera, so you go out. That was the reason why. They're not stupid. Corey says, Australian fan here, I waste my sleep every weekend to be up at 3 to 5 a.m. to watch these losers play for our club. When will we ever be good again? There you go. And that's dedication, Corey, and thank you for joining us now, and thank you for watching us now. I appreciate that. I'm not too sure what time it is in Australia. I think it's later on in the evening. But you ask, when will we ever be good again? I ask myself this same question, to be honest with you. I ask myself the same. I don't know if I'll ever see Everton win a trophy. I really, really don't. And we looked at, we all sat here on Saturday night, by the way, watching the FA Cup final, watching Leicester beat Chelsea, watching Leicester turn up and fight and battle, and that's in a cup final. Everton can't even fucking do that in a home game against a relegated team, and Leicester are doing that in a cup final. If that was Everton in that cup final on Saturday, we'd have lost about 14-0, because we'd have just completely shat ourselves. But we all sat here on Saturday and we said, oh, we want to be more like Leicester. Why can't we be more like Leicester? If we get the recruitment right, we'll be more like Leicester. It's not just the recruitment. The recruitment is a big part of it. Don't get me wrong. Leicester City have got the best recruitment in the league, bar none. Absolute best recruitment in the league and one of the best in Europe. But it's about the mentality that Leicester City have got at their football club. They've got that underdog mentality that is, where if we turn up in a final and we're playing a team like Chelsea, who are in the Champions League final, a team like Chelsea who are managed by Thomas Tuchel, who have got all of these quality players, we're gonna fight, we're gonna battle, we're gonna outpassion them, we're gonna outfight them. We're gonna make sure that if we lose to a world-class goal by Kai Havertz, at least we'll be able to say we give it our all. And look what happened. Chelsea weren't prepared to do the fighting. Chelsea weren't prepared to do the battling. Yuri Tielemans scores a world-class goal, and Leicester have won an FA Cup for the first time in their history. Now we sit here and say, why can't we be more like Leicester? Leicester? Why can't we be more like fucking Burnley? Why can't we be more like fucking Brighton? Why can't we be more like any team that can just turn up and beat the teams that are much worse than them, quality-wise? Never mind Leicester. Leicester are like on the moon, and Everton are fucking in the core of the earth. We're miles away from Leicester. It's so frustrating, because Everton could have been what Leicester City are with the right recruitment, with the right mentality, but we've got none of that. We've got none of that whatsoever, and it's a big, big summer for Marcel Brands and Carlo. I'm firmly still Carlo Ancelotti in, by the way. I am, because as much as I get the frustration, as much as I get that it hasn't been good enough and that we need to improve this, that and the other, I also understand the point is that Carlo Ancelotti has inherited a group of players here who are just completely and utterly dreadful. They're not good enough to play in Europe. They're not good enough to play for this football club. So I appreciate that, and has Carlo made some bad decisions? Absolutely he has. But what Everton needs to do now, and what Farhad Moshiri needs to do now, is maybe take a step back and take a step back, and don't worry about finishing in Europe next season. Don't worry about, because ultimately we can all sit here, and I've been guilty of this, by the way, as an Evertonian. I've been guilty of sitting here and saying Europe's a must next season. We must finish in Europe next season. But if we're going to sit here and say that, then that means, and if that's the message coming from the football club, then we might all think on the at first that's the right message. Yeah, that's the right message. Europe is a must next season. But all that means is Everton are going to go out next in the summer, probably spend far too much money on these no-mark players who have been at the top of their game 7 or 8 years ago and have got injury after injury, who are good enough to play in Europe but won't be consistent enough to play in a team that are fighting for Europe. Why don't we just go out as a fan base, and why don't the club just go out, i.e. Moshiri, Ken Wright, Dennis Barrett-Baxendale, whoever it is, and just say to Ancelotti and Brands, build a squad that in 5 years will be fighting in the Champions League. Don't worry about where we are next season. Don't worry about where we are in 2 seasons. Just make sure that when we get into Bramley-Moore, we're fighting in the Champions League and we're a real challenger for the league title. Why don't we just go out and give the responsibility to don't put pressure on Carlo and Brands to go and buy these superstars that won't do anything for us. Coutinho, nothing, don't want him at all. Koulibaly, don't want him. Aguero, don't want him. Bale, don't want him. Don't want any of these players. I want Leon Bailey. I want Ridley Baku. I want Max Aarons. I want, Ivan Toney. I want Buendia. I want Yves Bissouma. I want Anguissa from Fulham. I want all of these players before I even entertain the argument of Coutinho or Bale or Koulibaly. I don't want any of them, because they're not who Everton need at the moment, and they're not going to come in and give Everton what we need. We need pace, we need power, we need young, hungry players who have got a point to prove, who are physical, who can adapt to this league. Coutinho was brilliant in this league 7 years ago. He wouldn't be the same player now. He'd be getting paid 150 grand a week to spend 2/3 of his season on the injury bench. already got Hammers. We only need one Hammers, and then we need a team of Ben Godfreys around Hammers. And that's what we've got to do in this summer. We've got to get it right. If Everton... It's I suppose one positive we can take, we will get back in the live, and we will get back to talking about the game, by the way. I do want to talk about their goal, and I want to talk about some of the chances we had. I want to talk about the handball, of course, because it's it's something, isn't it? If you're enjoying, please do leave a like, by the way, subscribe if you're new. But that's one positive we can take. The season's done now, it's over. European football's gone. We've got nothing to play for, nothing to fight for. If you're going on Wednesday, enjoy it. Be a brilliant spectacle. You'll be able to go to Goodison for the first time in a while. And then City away on the last day of the season. We might get something out of City away on the last day of the season because it's, they've got nothing to play for in the league themselves, and they've got a Champions League coming up, etc, etc. But the one big positive we can take now from this season being over and done with is that we know what we need in the summer now. It's evidently clear. We can see as fans, and Marcel Brands should be able to see as director of football, and Carlo Ancelotti should be able to see as manager, by the way. It's not rocket science. We know what we need. We need pace, we need power, we need young, hungry players, we need physical players, position-wise, we need a right back, we need a right winger, we need a centre forward, we need a centre midfielder, we probably need a left winger, probably need another centre back. Me and Tom, T-Logic, are going to sit down later today and do a few videos that'll go up over the next few days or so, talking about what we need in the different positions. But it's evidently clear, and it's on Marcel Brands now. It's not like we're sitting here going, we're just that one player away from Europe, but we can't quite put our finger on what it is. No, Everton could fucking employ me to go and do the recruitment, and I'd get it right this summer. It's that easy. It's that evidence as to what Everton need. So it's all on Brands and Ancelotti. If we're sitting here on the 13th, 14th of August, or whenever that opening game of the season is, and Everton haven't made the right signings, then maybe Marcel Brands isn't right for the football club. Maybe Carlo Ancelotti doesn't quite understand what we need, because it's not like we're talking about a club that you can't really put our finger on the issues. We all know the issues. We all know what we need. We all know where we need to improve. We all know the positions. We all know the players we need to be going for. We all know the calibre of play we need to be looking at. It's simple. It's absolutely simple. So that's one big positive I think we can all take away from not just yesterday's result, but this entire season, is that it's evident what we need to improve. It's evident who we need to improve. And Everton have to go out and get those players now. I'd rather go out and spend £80 million on Ridley Baku, and I think that's his first name, isn't it? I don't want to get that. Have I just completely made that up? I think that is his first name. I'd rather Everton go out and spend Ridley Baku, £80 million on Ridley Baku, and I don't know who else, Leon Bailey, then go out and spend nothing on Coutinho and pay him 600 grand a week or 200 grand a week, whatever it may be. Go and spend the money in the right areas. If Everton can go out and spend 80 million on Coutinho and Bale and Koulibaly and Rabiot, then I'm not going to be very optimistic going into next season. I'm really not. Eugene says, do you think Everton will beat Wolves on Wednesday? Probably, because the fans are in the stadium and those players won't turn up and won't dare to turn up and put in that type of performance. They won't. And Kev says ability is nothing without mentality, and Jason says it's not our home record in the league rather than play better than us when we played in the FA Cup. No, it's just our home. It's just home this season, mate. League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. We haven't other than the first couple of games of the season, against West Brom and Brighton, etc. We haven't put a decent home performance in since the Merseyside derby at Goodison, Everton, and the two in December against Chelsea and Arsenal, which obviously had fans in the stadium, ironically. We haven't put a decent home performance in since December. And in December it was only the two, because obviously we had fans in the stadium, that was it. Anyway, look, we will get back in the live comments shortly. Let's get back into the game then. So, like I said before, Everton start the game relatively well. It's only 5 or 6 minutes in, so nothing's really happening, but we're looking relatively comfortable on the ball. We're passing it round, we're moving, we're making space, we're looking patient, and you can sort of see, right, it's only early on, but this team is looking like they've got the confidence to go out and win this game of football, hopefully. We then make a shocking defensive mistake. Like I said, we give the ball away cheaply. Alam, look, I love Alan. I think he's absolutely quality. I think he's world class. But the worrying thing about Alan is he's got that in his locker, and he just completely and utterly left he was left for dead. He gets a turn, I can't remember who it is by, and one simple ball across the box completely takes out Michael Keane, completely takes out Ben Godfrey, and young 17-year-old Jefferson's at the back post for his Premier League debut goal. And yeah, like I said, it's far too easy. Ben Godfrey has got a lot to learn for me as a centre-back. I love Ben Godfrey, and there is genuine shouts for him to be player of the season this season. There really, really is. I think he's had an absolutely fantastic season, and I think he's been an immense signing. He's the type of player that Everton should be looking at going out and signing in the summer. That calibre of player. And Ben's been excellent this season. He really, really has, but he's done that a couple of times. And that's something that he needs to improve on in the summer. That's something that he needs to really, really work on going into next season, is that sort of, I don't want to say ability or mentality, but, you know, him losing concentration and completely leaving his man. It was an easy finish. It was the easiest. It was his first professional goal in the Premier League for the young lad, and it'll be the easiest goal he'll score in the Premier League as well. He just completely runs off Ben Godfrey. Ben doesn't watch his run and slots it in the bottom corner. Nothing Jordan Pickford can do, and all of a sudden Everton are 1-0 down. And again, I don't know whether anybody else, I don't know whether anybody had the mentality to think, yeah, we'll get back into this game. I don't know if anybody thought, yeah, you know, it's a blip, we'll sort it out, blah, blah, blah. I didn't. Honestly, I didn't. As soon as we went 1-0 down, and it's easy for me to say this now, and you might say, yeah, Cam, you're bullshit, and you're only saying it now because the game's over. But as soon as we went 1-0 down, I thought, that's it. That's absolutely it. We aren't getting back into this game. Not a chance of we getting back into this game. And look what happens as soon as it went 1-0 down. I get it was only 7 minutes in, and it wasn't like we were absolutely outplaying Sheffield United, but we just completely fell to bits. We completely fell to bits. All of a sudden, we couldn't pass a ball. Luca Dean and Seamus Coleman crossing was dreadful all night, absolutely dreadful all night. And when you've got, you know, I've seen some people criticising the formation. I wasn't particularly surprised to see the formation, to be honest with you, because at the moment, look, I hate 5 at the back, 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it. I hate it. I really, really do, and I never really want to see Everton playing it. And next season, I don't want to see Everton ever playing it, because the hope is that we bring in 2 apt wingers that can come in and do a job there, that have got pace, that have got energy, that can beat a man. But the reality of the situation is, we've only got 2 wide players at the football club. Only 2, and that's Luca Dean and Seamus Coleman. They're the only 2 wide players. We've got no wingers at the football club. We haven't got one natural winger. So when you've only got 2 wide players, and one of them's a 34-year-old right back who is, you know, evident that he can't get up and down the pitch, you've got to play a 5 at the back, because you've got to have that sort of, you know, that outlet on the wing. And at times I think we played a 4 yesterday, and Seamus Coleman was at right midfield, which is, I don't know why, because he can't cross a ball. But Luca Dean had, again, an unusual Luca Dean performance. To be fair, he's been quite solid for the majority of this season, but yesterday he couldn't cross his arms. So when we're 20 minutes into the game and Luca Dean's putting every ball out of play and Seamus Coleman's putting every ball out of play, you sort of knew from that point on that it was always going to be down to somebody like a James Rodriguez to create that bit of magic to get us back in the game and ultimately, you know, win us the game. And when James Rodriguez wasn't showing that magic and didn't have that magic, you sort of knew that it was game, set and match from that point on, because the wide players certainly weren't. And look, Everton had chances in that first half. One fell to Alan shortly after we conceded. Corner comes in again. We didn't put a decent corner in all game, but a corner comes in, it's cleared, and it falls to Alan on the edge of the box, and he hits it with the outside of his foot. And to be fair to Alan, it's a very clever shot, and it's a very good shot, and it forces Ramsdale into a really, really neat and tidy save. You know, quite impressive save, to be honest with you, considering this is a goalkeeper who has conceded for fun this season. And that was the first big sort of opportunity that we had. We had another one, I think, shortly after with James Rodriguez. I think it's Michael Keane chips a ball in, and James has got the ball in the 6-yard box. He's got space in front of him. Nobody's tacking him down, and he just takes a bit too long for me to get the ball out of his feet. He takes a bit too long to switch the ball onto his left foot, and by the time he's hit it, you know, there's a Sheffield United player. I think it might have been I'm not too sure who he was, but there was a Sheffield United defender in front of him and ends up deflecting it over the bar for a corner. And you're sort of thinking, James is that type of player that the only player at the football club that you would expect that sort of situation not to happen, because he would have taken that quickly and he'd have had that shot before anybody would have been able to sort of guess where he was going to shoot. But he didn't. He took an extra 5-10 seconds to warm up and to sort of guide the shot, and by that point it was far too late. We didn't need that. We needed him to get it under control quickly and shoot like he's done on a number of occasions this season. He just couldn't do that last night. We then had obviously a handball situation. We will talk about the Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison chance as well in a moment, but we then had a handball situation, which I don't want to spend too long talking about it because I don't think it makes much of a difference to the outcome of the game, to be honest. And I'm not going to sit here and vilify VAR because, again, VAR wasn't the reason as to why Everton lost yesterday. The referee wasn't the reason as to why Everton lost. But it's a blatant penalty. Let's have it right. Let's have it real. It's a blatant penalty. We spoke about VAR on Thursday and the Tyrone Mings challenge, and we spoke about how, although VAR wasn't the reason as to why Everton lost, it still has ultimately ended up, screwing us over with the Tyrone Mings situation. It's the same yesterday. VAR wasn't the reason why Everton lost that game yesterday. The referee wasn't the reason why Everton lost that game, but we should have had a penalty. It's a very, very clear penalty. The commentators on BT Sport, I think it was Darren Fletcher and Martin Keown, said his arms in a natural position. I don't know what them two have been smoking, but they shouldn't sit anywhere near a commentary table in a game of football ever again if they believe that a player having his arm out here is in a... How is that a natural position, by the way? It's a natural position if you're fucking waiting for the bus and you're sort of trying to flag it to say, I'm here and I want to get on. It's not a natural position on a football pitch when you're defending. So I don't know why... listen, again, if you think that's a natural position, you shouldn't be anywhere near football commentating. It's as simple as that. And it's a blatant penalty. Seamus Coleman flicks it up. Yes, he doesn't know much about it, the defender. Yes, it's all happening very quickly, but he's still got his arm out here and the ball still hits him on the hand. So it's a handball and it should have been a penalty. VAR doesn't bother looking at it. Why? I don't know, because VAR's a nonsense, but doesn't bother looking at it. And obviously the referee and the linesman don't give it a second thought either, which is not surprising. And the game plays on. Like I said, would it have made much of a difference? We might have scored the penalty and the game might have ended 1-1. Maybe we'd have scored the penalty and it'd give us a bit of a kick up the arse and we'd have gone on and, Sheffield United maybe would have felt the pressure then and they'd have maybe made a few mistakes and we'd have gone on and won that game. Who knows? I'm not going to sit here and say if we'd have gotten that penalty, we'd have won the game, because the way in which Everton played yesterday, I've got no faith and belief in that statement. But it's a penalty. It's an absolute penalty. If that's a natural position, then I'm done with football. Like I've just said, it's a natural position if you're trying to flag the bus. It's a natural position if you're waiting for an I-5 from someone. It's not a natural position defending in the penalty area. And if it was the other end of the pitch, by the way, I guarantee Keown and Darren Fletcher would have been sitting there going, "Ooh, Mason Allgate's got away with one there." They wouldn't be saying, "No, that's a natural position." That it's not a natural position in any sense of the word natural position. So yeah, again, VAR doesn't give it, referee doesn't give it, and I'd say Sheffield United got away with one there because for me it's a blatant penalty. I don't know why. I know Seamus Coleman appealed it. I know Seamus Coleman had a little bit of something to say. I don't know why nobody else appealed it. To be honest with you, I don't know why nobody else surrounded the referee, because I honestly think if we would have surrounded the referee, he'd have been forced to go and look at the VAR, and that decision might have been given. But look, ultimately at the end of the day, it wasn't given, and it wouldn't have made much difference, would it? Let's be honest, it wouldn't have made much difference in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't get given. We continue to huff and puff a little bit. We continue to get outworked, outbattled, outfought, and we go in at half time. And I said it yesterday on Twitter. This is the biggest half-time team talk of Carlo Ancelotti's Everton career by a mile, because not only are we losing to a relegated side that have got nothing to play for other than their professional pride, but Everton have got something to play for. Everton have got Europe to play for. It was quite evident yesterday that win last night and Europe's massively on, and we're still within that fight for the top 6, top 7 places. Lose last night and Europe's over. Europe's done with. It's gone. Kiss it goodbye. That should have been the message in the dressing room. Do you lot want to play in Europe? Do you not want to play for this football club? Do you not want to play with top quality players next season who want to come in and help Everton progress? If you don't, then leave. If you do, then go out and battle. Because that last night, that second half, was the biggest 45 minutes of Everton's season. The most important 45 minutes of Everton's season. And we turned up, and the players looked again like they couldn't give a shit. They looked again like they were just void of ideas, like they didn't care, like they weren't interested. Like they were already thinking, do you know what? I can't wait to go on my holidays here. And that's the disappointing thing. Again, we come out in the second half, and barring the odd, half chance, I think Gylfi Sigurdsson come on, didn't he, for Mason Allgate, which I think was the right substitution. Mason had a shocker for the entire first half, really. And Gylfi was trying to make things happen. He was trying to play the ball down the line. At this point, James Rodriguez had gone from the first half where he was looking for those clever passes, looking for those clever through balls, and he was. And I just don't think Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin are on the same wavelength as James Rodriguez, because there was a couple of nice, neat passes James tried to play through, and neither striker was really onto them. Neither striker really followed them. And it got to the second half, and you sort of started to see that, again, typical Everton, where James is dropping into defensive areas to pick the ball up and giving away silly fouls. Gylfi can't really get on the ball. The forwards aren't really having much. But we had one big chance. I think it might have actually been in the first half, to be honest with you. But either way, we had one massive chance. Chipped ball in, I think it's by James Rodriguez, plays an unbelievably weighted ball into the box. Richarlison's free. He's on his own. Now, there's a slight element of me, and I mean slight element of me, that doesn't feel for Richarlison in this situation, but understands why it was a difficult chance. It's coming at pace, he's having to stretch, he gets the header on it, and Aaron Ramsdale makes it an absolutely excellent save. But for me, he still should be scoring that. If you're free in the box, you're completely unmarked, you've got a free header, and you miss it from there, you hit it straight into the goalkeeper. It's not good enough for me. And then even worse, even more worrying, I suppose you could say, is that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has the rebound and just completely and utterly lashes it into Aaron Ramsdale from 3 yards out. Now, I understand the Richarlison chance was a little bit difficult. I get that. I understand the Richarlison chance was tough for him, because he was at a stretch and he was running in and he needs to get a connection on it, this, that, the other. The Calvert-Lewin chance is embarrassing. It's nothing short of embarrassing. And I love Dom, and I do, and I think he's had a great season, and he scored 20 odd goals, 21, 22 goals for Everton this season. I think he's had an excellent season. I really, really do. But we talk about pressure, we talk about players not being able to play under pressure, and we talk about players not having that composure in the moments that it means to them. And Dom had that composure a couple of weeks ago against West Ham. Last week it was against West Ham. And, we had one big chance in the game and we scored it. It was a brilliant goal by Dom, and it was fantastic to see. But it's games like last night, it's chances like that you really, really need Dominic Calvert-Lewin to put in the back of the net. He had the whole goal to play for, to score, and he lashes it straight at Aaron Ramsdale's head. The only place that he couldn't have put it, and he put it there. The rest of the goal he had to aim at. He only had to side foot it with a bit of spin, and it'd have gone in. In fact, he could have took a touch and rolled it in past Aaron Ramsdale, because Aaron Ramsdale at this point is on the floor after saving. There's a Liverpool fan in the comments talking about Pickford. Pickford's been our best player for the last 2 months, mate, so I'm not really sure what you're on about. You clearly don't watch footy, because Pickford last night was exceptional again. Didn't have to do much, but his mentality was better than anybody else's. But yeah, in fact, we'll do it. I'm not really in the mood, so we'll do this. See you later. Yeah, like I said, you've simply got to be scoring those chances, and it's those chances that have bitten us in the arse at home this season. It's those situations that have bitten us on the arse at home all season. And again, Dom has to be doing better. I love Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think he's brilliant. I do. I really, really do. But he has to be doing better there. He simply has to be doing. He's got the whole goal to aim at. And to be fair, Richarlison, again, like I said, it's a difficult chance, but you've got it. Let's be honest. Let's dissect the Richarlison chance to the bare bones of what it is. It's a free header in the box. It's a free header in the box, and there's our two strikers who we're all talking about, you know, building this partnership and having this partnership with each other, and the pair of them have had one chance each there from 4 yards out against the goalkeeper who hasn't kept a clean sheet away from home all season, and the pair of them have hit it straight at that goalkeeper. No composure, no calmness, no coolness. It's shocking for me. It really, really is, and it's worrying. It's worrying because some people might say, oh, it's a great save, it's a great double save by Ramsdale, and it is a great double save by Ramsdale, to be fair, he does well, but for me, it's not good enough. It's absolutely not good enough, and the pair of them should be doing better in that situation. After that, like I said, you know, we go in at half-time, Carlo makes the change, brings on Gylfi Sigurdsson, takes off Mason Holgate, and you're sort of thinking, right, well, was anything going to happen here? Like I said, the second half, it was just, it become worse, didn't it, really? And you know, in a second half where we needed Everton to turn up and Everton to battle and Everton to fight, we didn't. We really didn't. We just, like I said, James started to become a liability because he was defending it. And I've seen a couple of people criticising the James substitution. I said it on my instant match reaction. I had no issue with it. I had no issue. I get that James is the only player at this club that has got that bit of magic that can change a game, has got that little bit of something that, you know, might come out of nothing, that might get you the result. I get that. But the reality of the situation is, if James wasn't taken off last night, he was getting sent off because he made two rash challenges in the space of a minute and a half. He picked up a yellow card, and like I said, at that point, whether he was taken off for fitness or whether he was taken off for caution, at that point, there's no point in having James in there because he's not doing any of his work up front. He's not creating up front. He's doing all of his work defensively, and he can't defend. He's giving fouls away in silly areas. He's picking up yellow cards. He's looking frustrated. He's looking annoyed. So you've only then got, all you've got then is a hot-headed player who isn't doing the work in the right areas. I had no issue with Carlo taking. Did I have an issue with Gomez coming on for the Corey? Did I have an issue with Tom Davies still not getting on the pitch? Absolutely, yeah. Because I really, really don't know what anybody sees in Andre Gomez over Tom Davies. Tom Davies is a much more effective, much better footballer than Andre Gomez, and should be on that pitch every day of the week over Andre Gomez. But he wasn't. But in terms of the players that come off, no issue with Mason Holgate coming off at half time, no issue with James coming off, and no issue with I can't even remember who else come off. The Corey coming off, really, because again, you know, he battled, he worked hard, but he's clearly not fit. So yeah, and then we had pretty much nothing, did we? We didn't really create anything in the second half. We didn't really have any clear chances. Bernard come on and done a bit of running around and worked a bit hard. Gylfi was trying to create. Gomez didn't really do anything. Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison just faded out the game and didn't look interested. And yeah, final whistle goes, and we've lost another game to another team that ultimately, let's be honest, not even we should have been beaten. We shouldn't have even had to worry about, and that's no disrespect to Sheffield United, but we shouldn't have had to worry about Sheffield United yesterday, and yet they've turned up and they've beaten us. What's the point anymore? What is the point? You know, we talk about individual performers. Ben Godfrey was better in the second half, but was a fault for their goal. Alan was much better in the second half, but was a fault for their goal. Michael Keane was alright. Both fullbacks were dross, absolute dross all game. I don't care what anybody says, the pair of them was shocking. You know, you can talk about Dean having a decent game defensively, but the pair of them were absolutely dreadful going forward. The only consistent player for the entire 90 minutes was Jordan Pickford, and he was ironically as well the only player who was using his mouth, who was screaming, who was shouting, who was looking like he wanted to win the game, who was looking like he was trying to kick players up the arse a little bit. Everybody else couldn't pass a ball. James couldn't pass a ball for the majority of the game last night. The Corey couldn't pass a parcel, mate. Alan giving the ball up in silly areas at times. The strikers couldn't finish the dinner. You know, like I said, Dean and Coleman couldn't cross their arms. What is this team? We were made to believe at the start of the season and at various points throughout the season, after the Derby win, after the Tottenham win, after the FA Cup win, that this is a team with quality, this is a team with ability, this is a team with fight, this is a team with a lot of potential going forward. Well, is it really? Is it? Because that team last night wasn't a side with quality, wasn't a side with fight, wasn't a side with potential. It was flat, gutless, spineless, pathetic, and let's be honest, quite frankly, dreadful. Absolutely dreadful at just doing the basics of playing footy. What's the point? Anyway, let's get into live comments then. I do want to talk a little bit more about Jordan Pickford, because I think he deserves a lot of credit. Let's have at least one positive. Caitlin Bloody Mary says Everton can't win against the relegated team with nothing outside the Premier League to worry about. Having European games would demoralise us and F with the Premier League. Absolutely, and you bring up a really good point there, Caitlin. Everton come up against the team yesterday, and I said it before, who had nothing to play for, nothing to fight for in terms of league position. All as that Sheffield United team had yesterday was a bit of professional pride, and I want to go out to sort of, again, if they're going down, they may as well go down fighting, they may as well go down on a whim, they may as well go down on a positive, they may as well go down saying, well, at least we had a little bit of a fight. And if Everton would have matched that fight yesterday, if Everton would have matched that energy, if Everton would have matched that passion with a 1-4-5, 6-1, 6-2, we'd have beaten them comfortably. But we don't. We don't match the fight, we don't match the passion, we don't match the energy, we don't match that professional pride, and that's why we've lost the game. Celta Vape says 5 years on from from taking over the club, the Mercedes project is no further on. Let's be honest, we've been shit since Moyes left. Well, again, maybe there needs to be a different angle with Farhad Mercedes' expectations of the club now. Maybe we need to stop expecting instant success straight away. Maybe we need to stop expecting top 4, top 6 finishes season in, season out. Maybe we just give the reins to Carlo and Marcel Brands and say, look, we'll just close our eyes here and open them again in 5 years, and you build a team that'll be challenging in 5 years. Forget next season, forget the season after. Don't go out and sign players that could turn us into Champions League team next season. No, go out and sign players I'd rather us sign players that will guarantee us Champions League qualification in 2 or 3 years than go and sign players that might put us in the Champions League next season, because more often than not those players don't work. Yeah, look at what Leicester, all we should do is phone Leicester City up and go, how the fuck have you done it for the last 4 or 5 years? Tell us you fucking how you've done it, and we'll do it like you. ESC Graphics says probably only me that thinks this, but Dean needs to play in the wing when Godfrey played left back in December, defended a lot better. Yeah, but again, Dean's delivery yesterday was dreadful, so we can talk about him playing on the wing, and I get that point, and that's fair enough, but Dean's delivery was shocking yesterday. Douglas says they were all consistent. Problem was, unlike Pickford, they were consistently bad. Yeah, Dan Boy says, like Alan, but I've never seen a player get skinned so much in my life. Always goes flying at the ball. It's so easy to knock it past them. And again, maybe he is a bit attracted to the ball, and that's something that Alan's going to have to learn, that you can't do that in the Premier League. You can't, not every player is like they are in the Italian league, where they're all slow and they'll all give you 45 minutes on the ball. It's a quick league, and if you go flying in, you take a risk. More often than not, you're going to get turned. Flip-Flop says, found out I won 60 quid on the lotto Sunday morning. Alisson scores last minute winning and Everton get embarrassed as birthdays go. It was okay. I don't know who you support, mate. Thanks for watching. I hope you've left a like. I hope you'll subscribe. I'm not really sure who you support or why you're here, but there you go. Sol says, identity is something every team needs to be successful. We have no strategy in our home performances. No player has any idea of what to do when we get in the opposition half. Exactly, we've got no identity, mate. This football club has got no identity, and it hasn't had any identity for years. What are we? What are Everton? Are Everton the people's club? Are we at Everton a club that battles? At Everton a club that fights? What is Everton's identity? Somebody tell me, please, because I don't know it. Faz says Pickford is a perfect example of a player that worked hard behind the scenes and turned his mares around. Spot on. Ewan says, why did Carlo not start Tom Davies? He's one of our best midfielders in recent weeks. I can't understand why the lad isn't getting the game time he deserves. Listen, I didn't criticise Carlo for much last night, because I've gotten to the point now, and I said it when Marco Silva left, and I've gotten to the point, if you want Carlo Ancelotti to leave Everton Football Club, that's fine, that's your opinion, everyone's entitled to that opinion, but please tell me you want 90% of this squad to go with him, because how many times are we going to keep putting the blame on the manager? The manager doesn't walk across that white line onto the pitch, the manager doesn't, put in consistent performance that is lacking in effort. Is like, do you honestly think Carlo Ancelotti's going in that dressing room going, do us a favour this week, boys, don't show any fight, don't show any passion, don't show any energy, it doesn't matter if you lose? He's not. That's these players. These players are doing that. So if you want Carlo to leave, that's fine. That's your opinion, and everyone's entitled to that opinion. But please tell me you want all of this squad to go with him. John says, our biggest issue is depth, Cam. We need a massive summer. We talk about the lack of energy, but there's only so much the same 11 can give out a season. Yeah, I agree. You're spot on. EFC Graphic says, Alan needs to be more greedy. Gets into good positions to shoot and turns around and passes it, apart from that one shot yesterday, which was a brilliant shot, by the way. Brilliant technique by Alan. Very unfortunate to not score. And Paul says, I think these players go through the motions. They know they won't lose their place in the team. No pressure on them. Spot on, Paul, and that's an excellent point, by the way. That is an absolutely excellent point. Dominic Calvert-Lewin isn't looking over his shoulder because he knows that there's not any competition for him. Alan Decore, there's no competition for them. James knows that when he's fit, he's in that team. The defence know that when they're fit. Luca Dean knows that if he's fit, he's in that team. And I'm not saying that these players consciously think, right, I don't have to work hard here, I don't have to fight, I don't have to battle because I know my position's solidified. That may be a subconscious feeling. Look at Jordan Pickford. Look at how much bringing in a competent backup goalkeeper like Robin Olsen has done for Jordan Pickford. Look at how much Carlo Ancelotti saying to Jordan Pickford, we're going to play Robin today because I believe in him, he's a good keeper, he's a solid. Look at how much Robin Olsen's decent performances have done for Jordan Pickford. Jordan's actually thought for the first time in his Everton career, shit, I've got some competition on here. I can't afford to be losing concentration. I can't afford to be laughing when the ball goes past me. I can't afford to be making mistakes because I'll be out and this lad will be straight in. So he's improved, he's battled, he's worked hard. He's gotten rid of those stupid goalkeeper mistakes. He's gotten rid of those stupid lapses in concentration, and he's become our best player recently, our most consistent player, the player with the right attitude. Is it a coincidence that he's the only player in this Everton team currently that's got any real competition behind him? It's not. Sorry. Sorry, throat's a bit sore. It's not a coincidence. Paul's absolutely spot on. It's not a coincidence at all. It's because he's got competition and none of the other players have. EFC Graphics says, I don't want Europe, we're not ready, especially with some of our top teams being in there next season. Gender says, does Everton deserve Europe? I don't think so. They've been just better than Arsenal. Yeah, we don't deserve Europe, mate. We really don't deserve Europe. Big Nos says, correct, Cam, the Hammer substitution was spot on. I agree, no issue with it. Faz says spot on. Richie looks like he resents TCL's goals and won't let him play him in. Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin don't play as a partnership. That's their issue. They're not a duo. They're not a partnership. They don't work together. They work as individual players who... Richarlison is greedy, let's be honest. We know that. Richarlison's greedy. He wants to score. He wants to be the star of the show. And I just think Dom, maybe sometimes when there's a pass on or when there's a ball on, he just doesn't see it because they haven't got that chemistry. They haven't got that partnership. They're not on the same wavelength. I said it yesterday in the instant match reaction. They're not, never mind reading out the same book, they're not in the same fucking library to read out the same book. And that's something that if Carlo Ancelotti wants Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison to play as a partnership for the foreseeable future, that's something that needs sorting out as soon as possible. Big Nos says they're not good enough. EFC Graphics says, I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richie works like it used to. We either need to replace one or play Richie out wide. Yeah, fair enough. Philip says, morning all. Morning, Philip. If you're enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. Only takes a second if you're new. Don't forget to subscribe. If you could share the stream, it would mean a great deal to me. C-Play says, I said to my dad, if we don't score by half time, it's over. B says, are you going on Toffee TV's final word today? I'm not today. I'll be on Toffee TV, joined by Ped, Baz and Ned tomorrow, and then Thursday. So I'll be over in the studios tomorrow and Thursday, but not today, unfortunately. Caitlin says, why the actual hell am I sitting here on a Monday night relieving this? Well, Caitlin, all I can say is thank you very much, because we're all Evertonians here, and we all sit here, and look, none of us really want to talk about this game, none of us really want to talk about this season, but I just appreciate everybody that's subscribed, everybody that's liked, everybody that's watched, everybody that's viewed, because you're all helping me out, and you're all helping the channel out, and it means a massive, massive amount to me. Listen, Everton let us down week in, week out, they let us down year in, year out, but I'll always come and sit and talk about them, because I love them. Everton are my club. They're my heart. They're my passion. If I didn't have Everton, I don't know what I'd do. Even this Everton who were letting us down constantly. So thank you all very much for joining us. 72 people currently watching. Honestly, it means a massive amount to me. If you're watching and you're enjoying, just please do hit that like button. It literally only takes a second if you're logged into your YouTube account, and it does go a long way for me. You mightn't think it does, but it really, really does. If you're new as well, and you could subscribe, that'd be massive. We're aiming towards 4k subscribers, which would be perfect. If you're enjoying and you think some of your friends or your family would enjoy, share the stream. We'll try and get as many people involved as we can. This isn't just a channel for me. It's not just my opinion. That's why I like going through the live comments, because this is a channel for everybody. This is a channel for Evertonians. You know, I might sit here on the camera and talk physically, but when everybody comments, I get through as many of them as possible so we can share everybody's opinions, because opinions are what makes football. Opinions are what matters. Big Nozzer says, all the commentators are pundits, ex-United, Arsenal, shite by... Yeah, I don't listen to any of the commentators, to be honest. I just genuinely, I really, really genuinely can't believe that that they said that was in that handball was in a natural position. As soon as I heard them say that, I turned to my dad and went, are they absolutely having a laugh? A natural position for what? Fucking, like I said, looking for the bus. A natural position for flagging a taxi on a night out in town. If that's the case, then why don't all the players on the pitch just pick the ball up and run with it and then throw it into the back of the net and go, well, what? That's a natural position for netball. You know, it's a natural position for Gaelic football. So it's all right. It doesn't matter about the rules of football, because me picking the ball up is a natural position. Because if I was going into Sports Direct and buying a ball, I'd pick it up. I wouldn't volley it across the fucking shop and hit the fella on the till and say, yeah, can't pick it up, mate, because that'd mean my hand's not in a natural position. No, I'd pick it up. So why don't we just pick the ball up and go and throw it in the back of the net? It's a nonsense. It's an absolute nonsense, mate. Where are we? Faz says, you can't make poor players any better than they are. We know at least 6 have to go. Nathan says, what happened to Andre Gomez? That's the golden question, isn't it, mate? Kiriako says, waiting for the bus. Bill says, absolutely horrific. Our players don't care. Spot on, Bill. Gavin says, never mind. We're linked with Sibier, another washed up 30-year-old. Yeah, I really don't want him. Douglas says, in fact, just do the player ratings for the warm-up. Dan says, Tom Davies should start every game. And John says, our biggest issue is depth, Cam. We need a massive summer. We talk about lack of energy, but there's only so much the same XI can give over a season. Yeah, you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on, mate. This team isn't good enough. Just seen a comment. B says in the comments there, by the way, how can I become a member of the channel? I haven't set up the memberships yet. I am going to set them up over the next couple of days though, because I understand there's a few people that want to become members, and I really, really would appreciate that. So I haven't set it up yet, but I will set it up, mate, in the next couple of days. Thank you very much for showing interest. Really appreciate that. But yeah, like I said, other than those 3 chances, Dom had a half chance where Gylfi Sigurdsson played him through, but he couldn't get his feet. He couldn't get the ball quite under control with his feet, and that was it. Practically, that was it for the entire game. It phased out. No fight, no energy, no passion, no grit, no spine, no gut, no determination, and we didn't want to win. And that's the simplistic element of it. We didn't want to win this game of football, and that's devastating. As fans, that's absolutely devastating, because this was a squad, this is a team that we were all told wanted to play in Europe next season, wanted to show that fight, wanted to show that grit, wanted to show that determination. Well, where was it yesterday? The season's done now. They had a big chance yesterday, this Everton team, to go out to win a game of football and to keep our season alive. That's not the case now. The season's done. The season's over and done with, finished, finito, gone. Ta-da, wave goodbye to it, it's gone. Europe's gone. We're not finishing in Europe. End of story. And again, it's another textbook Everton home performance this season, and I don't expect to see it on Wednesday. I don't, because I don't, like I said before, I don't think the players have got the bollocks to put this type of performance in front of a I shouldn't say a packed out Goodison Park, then I wish, but in front of a Goodison Park with fans in, I really, really don't. But look, we know what needs to be done in the summer. It's arguably the biggest summer of our recent history, to be honest with you. I thought last summer was big. This summer is gigantic. Absolutely gigantic. We know what we need. We know the positions that we need to strengthen in. We know the type of players we need to go out and get. Forget your Coutinho's, forget your Kieran Trippiers, forget your Koulibaly, forget your Bales. No. Look at your Leon Baileys. Look at your Max Adams. Look at your Ridley Baku. Look at your Yves Bissouma. Look at your Frank Anguissa from Fulham. Look at your maybe Ivan Toney from Brentford. What did Everton... can anybody tell me? And it's not... I'm not trying to be patronising on a quick or a trick question. What did Everton do really well under David Moyes? We went out and we bought hungry championship players or players from different leagues with a chip on the shoulder and with a point to prove. Why are Everton now going out and signing these players who used to play in the Champions League, or not signing, being linked with these players that once were half decent 5 or 6 years ago? Why isn't our transfer policy the same as what Leicester City's is, by the way, which is go out and buy young and hungry players with a point to prove that have got the ability and the potential to go and be Champions League players? Why are we going out and buying players that were Champions League players 5, 6 years ago, and since then I've had 15 broken legs, 45 broken arms, and can barely kick a ball without falling over? I love James Rodriguez, I really do, and I think he's had a great season for what he's played, but we knew what we were getting with James Rodriguez. It still baffles me that some Everton fans are surprised by James' injury record this season. Not one part of me is surprised by James' injury record this season. We knew what we were getting with him, and that's why it's so vitally important, by the way, that we can't sign any more of that type of player. It's alright having one, but like I said, I've said it numerous times before, Everton are now, the way that the players we're being linked with at the moment are cherries. You want the cherry on top of the sprinkles, on top of the icing, on top of the cake, your Jameses, your Aguero, your this, that and the other. We haven't even got a fucking oven to bake the cake, never mind getting the cherries to put on top of the cake. Go and get a team of Ben Godfreys, go and get 5, 6, and I know Ben made a mistake yesterday and that's fine, but go and get 5, 6, 7 young, hungry, physical, athletic, big players who can get about the pitch and have got a point to prove, and are also very good at playing footy, that have got a lot to learn as well. Build your team around Dom, Ben, I don't know, Luca Dean, and then you'd add your James, on your Richarlisons on top. Employ what Leicester City employ, basically. If you get a big bid for any player this summer, sell them. And I'm talking big bid. I'm not saying go out and sell everybody, but every player's got a price. And yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like I said, for me, it's evident, it's clear, it's light as day. Whatever need, it's light as day. What Marcel Brands and Carlo Ancelotti have to go out and do in this summer transfer window. Will they do it? If they don't do it, then the pair of them need to leave, because it's blatant. I could do it. I could sit there and do it. It's so clear what Everton need in this summer. But yeah, look, I don't know. Where do we go from here? Like, let's be honest, we just see out this season. If you're going on Wednesday, enjoy it, soak it up, enjoy it, and don't worry about what's happening on the pitch. And then we get this season over and done with, and we go from there. Let's get into the live comments before we finish up. Then, if you are enjoying, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. EFC Graphics says, if Barca come back in for Richie, would you sell him? Depending on the price, mate. But like I said, every player's got a price tag. Leicester City fans, yeah, were annoyed when they sold Maguire, when they sold Kante, when they sold Chilwell, when they sold Mahrez. What did they do? They sold Chilwell. They brought in young Luke Thomas from the academy, who scored a worldie against Man United the other day. They sold Maguire. They brought in Fofana, who's for me 10 times the player Harry Maguire is. They sold Kante. They brought in Ndidi Tielemans, who's just scored a 40-yard worldie and won them an FA Cup. They sold Mahrez. They brought in James Maddison. They brought in Harvey Barnes through the academy. Everton should be aiming as to what Leicester City are doing. Faz says, in a heartbeat. Sol says, Barca ain't buying a player who scored 6 league goals this season. Bradley says, what are your thoughts on Coleman last night? I thought he was dreadful, but I'm not surprised, to be honest. I'm not surprised, because ultimately, Seamus Coleman can't play 4 games in a week, 3 games in a week. He can't do it. And we know that. We knew that before this season even kicked off. So, yeah, again, we know. Not good, but not surprised. Celtic says, you've hit the nail on the head. Can we brought in Carlo to use his links to these players, open to buy our way to Champions League? It's not working, and it's the wrong strategy. Paul said Zinkwater to Chelsea too. Sol says, where would James go? No Champions League football. We'll see the injury risk. Listen, if I stick to my point, by the way, we knew what we were getting with James. If James Rodriguez was going to come into Everton this summer and guarantee he was going to be fit for the entire season, he wouldn't be signing for Everton.
We knew that when he signed for Everton, it was going to be on the basis that he will spend a lot of time out injured. We knew that. Otherwise, he wouldn't be signing for Everton. Danboy says, if James wants to go, get Eze. I'd love Eze. I'm not too sure I'd love James to go, but I'd love Eze. Matt says, Cam, it is because we have a management structure that comes from an older version of the game. We are not a modern club. We need to complete culture change from top to bottom. Starting with Bill, fair enough. Ian says, morning Cam, what a shout of shite. I'm glad we're not in Europe because they are bringing shame and embarrassment to our world-class manager. Carlo needs proper players that play with heart and passion. Well, then it's up to Carlo, innit? It's up to Carlo and it's up to Marcel Brands to go and bring those types of players in. By the way, just for argument's sake, I love Richarlison, and I think Richarlison, for as much as he's had a bad season this season, he's been absolutely atrocious. He's been very good for the 2 seasons prior, and his goals have single-handedly kept Everton in the Premier League, I'd say, for the last 2 seasons. So I don't really want Richarlison to leave. I'm not willing to sell Richarlison, but business is business, and I honestly think the club would sell anybody if they got a good enough bid. Listen, if the club put a price on a player and get a bid that is significantly more than that price the club have put on the player, then they're probably going to sell. Sol says 500 million and the best player on our right is 32-year-old Seamus Coleman. Shocking recruitment, yeah, and he was woeful last night as well. Evan FL says, I hate this club, what do they give to us? Hate these players, don't give a shit, and hate this manager. This is what Everton do to you. Philip says, one good thing to come out of this as a club, we'll be fully aware of the fans' feelings because of the fan sites, our thoughts cannot be ignored. Now, well, mate, it's clear. Like I said, for me, it's absolutely clear what we need, what Marcel Brands needs to do, what Carlo Ancelotti needs to do. It's so clear what Everton need, and if they don't go out and do that in the summer, then it's a massive worry. It really is. EFC Glavas says, I think James will go if we don't get Conference League. I don't think he will, mate. I don't think he will, to be honest. I think he's happy here. Why wouldn't he be? He's getting paid stupid amount of money to spend the majority of his time, not playing, and the rest of the time being lauded for his quality. So why would he want to leave? He'd have a lot more demanded of him if he went to a bigger European club, per se. Simon says, there seems to be a common trend where good players join us and then go to shit. Can't be a confidence thing the way the club is run is lacklustre. No one cares enough about making us successful. Defeatist mentality, mate. Salsa's in their prime, Cam, exactly. Celtic says, what reception will the fans give to them at Wolves? I don't know. Maybe there'll be a good reception, maybe it'll be a bad reception, but they won't play like they did yesterday, because they just won't. And Yo Ben says, I'm a Chelsea fan, by the way, because none of the other YouTubers are having the type of understanding you have towards the game. Would like to do some analysis on other main games. Cheers, mate. Yeah, at the end of the season, I'll maybe sit down and look at doing some other footballing topics, but at the moment, this is what Everton does to you. It just completely takes it out of you. Bradley says, I've never been so deflated to be an Everton fan, mate. I'm gutted. Lee says, we don't have an arse off seat type of player that will drive us forward. You're spot on. Ewan says, do you think we will struggle to get players if we don't have European football next season? Players don't want to join clubs without it. Do you know what? I think we need to stray away from, not necessarily stray away, because there's a couple of players that will want European football, the likes of your Ridley Baku and your Bailey and stuff, but I don't think whether we finish in Europe is the be all and end all, because I think there's players in the Championship, I think there's players in the Spanish League, the French League, the German League, that wouldn't necessarily be too arsed about European football, because they'll want to come into Everton and have a point to prove, and they'll want to come into Everton and be that player that takes us into Europe. So I'm not particularly bothered about the level of player that, if you were to say to me, oh Cam, if Everton don't finish in Europe, you won't be able to sign Coutinho, I'd say sound. But you can't honestly say to me, if Everton don't finish in Europe, we won't be able to sign Ivan Toney, who's playing in the Championship at the moment. Everton would be a step up. We wouldn't be able to sign Max Aarons. It would be a step up. We wouldn't be able to sign, Yves Bissouma, because we would. Because these aren't players that I think are wanting Europe straight away. Yeah, they're good enough to play in Europe and they can go to teams in Europe, but I still think we've got a chance to sign those types of players. So I don't particularly think Europe should be all and end all if we get the recruitment right, and it's all about getting the recruitment right. EFC says, would you start King against Wolves? I don't know. He wasn't even in the team yesterday, was he? He was injured. Whatever. He's not staying beyond this season anyway, so I don't think it really matters, does it? And Dan says, do you think James was walking around the second half legging everyone in an attempt to get himself substituted? Either that or sent off. I said it yesterday, I said it before as well. The Hammer substitution was spot on. Absolute right substitution. I had no issue with it whatsoever. Anyway, look, we're going to finish it up there then. Massive thanks to everybody in the comments. I'm really sorry I couldn't get through all of them. Loads of comments today, so I really do appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. If you're watching this as a YouTube video, please do leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll get involved with as many of them as we possibly can as well. We'll be back tomorrow with the game preview to that Wolves game. Listen, I'm just going to talk about fans being back in the stadium, to be honest, because, you know, there's nothing in it for us now. We'll also have a number of recruitment videos out over the next couple of days or so. Me and Tom are going to sit down shortly and record 3 or 4 videos talking about the defence, the midfield, the forward line, what Everton need in the summer, and the types of players that Everton should be going out and looking at in the summer. So look forward to those ones as well. They'll be coming out sporadically over the next few days or so. But yeah, shocking result, shocking performance, and let's be perfectly honest with ourselves, it just epitomises the entire season, doesn't it? It really does. Danbury says, I have good faith Richie will be boss against a game once the crowds are back. He feeds off crowds more than most players. Baby, hopefully. And Big Nod says, great show, Cam, take care, mate. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much to everybody for watching. Thank you very much for everybody for liking, subscribing. Really do appreciate it. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you could leave a like, it would mean a great deal to me as well. Yeah. Season's done. Europe's gone. And it's all down to these players not bothering turning up yesterday. But are we really surprised at that? I don't think we are. Big thanks for watching. Massive thanks to everybody for getting in the comments. As always, the live comments. If you're watching the YouTube video, get your comments in. We'll get involved with as many of them as possible. And yeah, big thanks for watching. And we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.